Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Um,
Can you
does
hear
my
me on
background
my side?
sound very noisy? Yeah, I can hear you fine. Does my background sound very noisy?
Okay, great. Let me just
Turns out that today they decided to do some plumbing work where I am, so it seems to be. I don't know how bad the background noise is.
okay, okay. Okay. It's your okay, your video is on. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, my video is on.
Okay. Good, 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 good. Good to have you. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Are we live yet?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are we live yet?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you fine, actually.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, but
Yeah, I can hear
I
you.
can't hear you so well.
Oh, you can hear me?
You, okay, okay, all right.
Can you
Oh,
hear me?
okay. I can hear you, but I think the line keeps breaking.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I can hear you,
Well,
but I think the line keeps breaking.
hmm.
Yeah.
Let me see. What can I do?
So how are you? Welcome to People Who Inspire.
Thank you very much. Are we live yet?
Come again?
Are we live yet?
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Okay. I think the network is a bit slow, so there's a
Okay,
lag, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
I think what
But
I'm
that's
going to
fine.
do
That's
is,
fine. So yes, yes. So Isaac, welcome to. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm listening.
okay. I think I don't know if we're live yet, but I can do is I can um hang up and then like change my network and then come back on again.
So yeah, maybe you can dial back in. I think that would be great.
Yeah, so let me
So
just
yeah, guys,
change my
today we
network.
have Isaac Sesi, who we are going to talk to. Yeah, so yeah, maybe yeah, I'm here. So just sort it out. Yeah,
Okay, all right, sure.
we can have our conversation. Welcome, guys, and thank you for joining today's episode of People Who Inspire. We have the CEO of Sesi Technologies, and he's doing amazing work, trying so hard to kind of bridge the gap between agriculture and technology. So a lot of farmers face post-harvest losses, and his company has really developed some very groundbreaking technologies and innovations that really help farmers to cut down on the post-harvest. Okay, guys, so I'm back. Just waiting for Isaac to dial back in. So if you're joining us, today is another beautiful, beautiful, wonderful day. for another episode of People Who Inspire. We have Isaac Sesi of Sesi Technologies, who is going to share his journey with us and also going to share a few of his perspectives around how technology can be leveraged to solve real problems for our rural farmers who basically are feeding us. And a lot of times there's a lot of post-harvest losses, a lot of agri supply chain issues, especially in the last mile. So Isaac and his team from Sesi Technologies have developed a couple of innovations, a number of innovations that are helping rural farmers to be able to reduce their post-harvest losses and also to ensure that they are able to get some profit after they have done their harvest. So we're going to have a very interesting time today. So let's just stay tuned as we get Isaac back into the stream. Welcome back.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. I can hear you perfectly now.
Okay, great.
Perfect. So welcome. It's been very an anticipatory episode. A lot of people are anticipating this conversation we are going to have, and also to get to know you. So welcome, Isaac, to People Who Inspire.
Thank you very much, Prince, for having me.
Yes. And it's been a very, let's say, interesting journey. I've been following your work, and we'll get to know all about that very soon. So viewers, we have Isaac Sesi in the house. He's the CEO of Sesi Technologies. They are really doing an amazing job trying as much as possible to address real problems that our rural farmers are facing by really coming up with technologies that can help them reduce post-harvest losses and also to really bring some improvement in their livelihoods, especially when they are able to cut down on all those unnecessary losses after they have harvested their produce and also even during the production itself. So we are going to have a very nice conversation. We are going to understand Isaac's life, where he's coming from, what his journey has been, and what his vision is for Sesi Technologies in the coming years. So we can already start, Isaac. So I always start with a very simple question. So can you tell me where you grew up, where you were born, and how it all started?
Okay, thanks for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Isaac Sesi. As you all know, I'm the CEO of Sesi Technologies. I was born in Accra, and I spent the first 11 years of my life in Accra. I lived near Jowulu. And it was like a pretty normal life for me. Wake up, go to school, come back. Yeah, in that sense, it was pretty normal. But then, as far as just living as a kid was concerned, it was a bit different because our house was like one of the house, probably the only house in the whole neighborhood that didn't have electricity. So there was no TV to watch. There was no nothing, no form of entertainment. My only form of entertainment was just reading storybooks. And so I got really passionate about reading. And my exciting times was when I had the opportunity to go to the library to go pick a new book for the week, which I would probably finish reading in like 1 or 2 days. And then I don't have anything to read again. And then things get boring until the next week. So
Solid.
yeah, I think in 2004 we moved to Kaswa in the central region, which was probably worse because around the time Kaswa was not very developed, and in the whole neighborhood there was no electricity where we were. There were mud houses, and it really looked like you were in a village. And so it was just the same thing, no entertainment, lots of reading to keep myself occupied. But then around that time, I started getting interested in building stuff and taking radios apart, fixing them, making toy boats, etc. And that was where the passion to do things began. So yeah, I don't know if I covered most of it, but feel free to point
Yes,
out.
yes. I think you've covered it really nicely. So I mean, I love this session of people who inspire because this is let's say the message that I always try to send across, that it doesn't matter how, let's say, the beginning was. If you really push through and you are consistent and you persevere, always there's always an opportunity somewhere. I mean, this is the case where, like you rightly said, I know Jolu very well because I schooled at Bekans, which is around Jolu.
Oh,
I
I went to
started
King
my
of
crèche
Kings.
over there. Come again?
I went to King of Kings.
Oh, really? You see, small world. You know, yeah, and I wrote my BEC actually at the Jolu school there inside the
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's Jolu school. So that's where I wrote my BEC. So I know Jolu and a lot of posh houses and a lot of middle class people. So like for you to live in Jolu without electricity, that's really a story to tell.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah,
Yes,
people
that's
just
that's really.
assume.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the part of Jolo I lived was really close to like Airport West. And so when you
Ah.
mention that, people begin to think that, wow, you're some DB. And so when you tell them that you grew up in a house without electricity, they don't believe it.
Oh my goodness. And I can so relate. I can so relate because I mean, if like you rightly said, growing up, so from GSS, then you moved to Kaswa. So at what point, like you rightly said, you started putting things together, moving from Jolu to Kaswa. And I know Kaswa also very well because I used to go to SCC area there back in the day a lot of times and go to Kaswa sometimes. And so from there, what happened? Where did you go to your secondary school? And can you just walk us through your life in secondary school? I'm sure your love for science also kind of really was ignited somewhat. And from there to KNUST.
Yeah. So I think that when we left Jolu, I was actually in JHS one. I think I was going to
Ah,
JHS
okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was in the school in Kaswa, and I had this senior, Benjamin Tego, who was like ahead of me by 2 years. And so when I got to Form 3, I didn't really know a lot about what schools there were, what's their
Mm.
what their strengths were, and I had no idea. All I knew was that yeah, there was this school called this, there was another school called this. So my senior went to Infantipim school, and then one
I
time
think your
he
audio has gone off. Let me, not sure why.
hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, please go on. Yes, you said
Okay.
yeah, you had this friend who was 2 years ahead of you. I think that's where I
Yeah,
got.
yeah. So he was in Infantipim school at the time, and then one time he came home from school, and then he brought me this magazine. I think it was around November when Infantipim school have their speech day. I think today is
I think
Infantipim school
your line keeps breaking.
speech day, right? Yeah.
Your line
So
keeps breaking. I don't know.
that's when Infantipim school has their speech day. So he brought me a magazine, and I like the school. To be like one of the best
Can you hear me?
institutions.
I think your line is breaking, so I can
I
barely
met a
hear you.
lot of people.
The line keeps breaking, so I can barely hear you. Hello? I think your line is breaking. So maybe if you can hear me, Isaac, you can dial out and dial back in. I think that would be very, yeah, that I think that should solve the issue. So guys, if you are still watching, we are speaking with Isaac Sesi, who is the CEO of Sesi Technologies, and we are talking about his whole journey so far, not just with his company, but as well as where he grew up. And as he was sharing earlier, he grew up somewhere in Jowulu, in Accra, and he mentioned that there was no electricity at home. So, hello, Isaac, welcome back.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me? Oh, yes, I can hear you now. I think your line was breaking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So if you can pick up from where you left off with the guy who introduced you to FanSpam.
Yeah. So Benjamin introduced me to FanSpam, and I'm like, okay, I read the magazine, I like the school, and then I chose the school. So I did well in my BC, and I got into FanSpam, and it turned out to be one of the best.
Which year magazine was that?
I think it was 2007, 2007 year mag.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like the school, so I chose it, and then it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made, because that was where the foundation of everything really started to build up. I met some people that were also into electronics who were higher than me, and I spent like most of my time in the science lab just learning from these guys, building stuff. And I'll take all of my food money and go to Kotokraba to go buy electronic components just to come and build something. And you know, speech day was always a big thing for me, because then it gave us the opportunity to display all of the stuff that we had been building. And you know how in fancy payment there's like, we'll build this thing and carry it from the science lab and walk all the way from the hill down to the domestic side. Everybody will be looking at you like, what is this guy holding? Is he making a bomb? Is he going to kill us? So yeah, the passion was really there to build stuff. And I think in around third or final year, I knew that I wanted to really go do engineering in my university. So I think I wanted to go to MIT, but I didn't even have money to write SAT. So after SAT, I went to teach for a year to save money to buy forms to go to the university. And then I applied for electrical engineering at KNUST. And then I got admission, and I got to do electrical engineering. So over there was like a continuation of what I started in SHS. I was really excited about going to university, because I thought that in KNUST I was going to really learn and improve on my skills. My program was going to teach me a lot. But it turned out that a lot of the things they were teaching us was related to the field of power, which wasn't where my interest was. I was more interested in electronics. It meant that I had to like learn on my own. So fortunately also I found this group of guys that were also crazy and they're building stuff. And George Appiah had just started Creativity Group not long ago. And then I felt like, I had a family that I belonged to. And those were like, Creativity Group was one of my highlights of KNUST, because then you meet people who are like you, and then you work on projects together, you build your skills, you learn a lot. And from there, I became known as the guy. I also started a company called Event Electronics. That was
I know about them. So you are one of the co-founders then?
Yes. So that was like one of the first online electronic component shops in Ghana. And then we started retailing electronic components to the students, and then after that, everyone else who was interested in electronics. So everybody knew me as the guy who could either build projects for you or get you components or anything related to electronics. You should come to Isaac Sesi. So that was how I got to do my research at the um, Department of Agric Engineering, because we're looking for someone who was good with electronics to come and run a project. And because I was good with electronics, someone recommended me, and then I went there. So that was
Wow.
it was through the project that actually Sesi Technologies came about. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So I mean, I'm really fascinated because for me, this is like the really typical, journey that most of us go through. From SHS, we get into the university, and then a lot of times we get disillusioned because we have this kind of expectations going to the university, and then when you go there, you realize that okay, so this is where your expectations, as much as they can be met, and then the question is, what do you do next? So I'm really happy that you found creativity group and you found, let's say, like-minded people. So whilst you're at KNUST, you started, like you said, retailing electronic components, building stuff. What was, for me, in your 4 years stay in KNUST, what was the aha moment? Like, I know you said a project kind of really give birth to Sesi somewhat, but what was the aha moment where you realized that, okay, look, I want to do this full time and I want to start a company out of the project that you got yourself involved in?
Okay, I think in third year, we had to go do this compulsory internship in for our course. It was like a 1 or 2 credit hour course. If it wasn't for the fact that you didn't graduate if you didn't do the internship, I wouldn't have done it. Anyway, so I was sent to, so I sent a letter to Cargill Ghana Limited, the cocoa processing company in Tema. And then for like 8 weeks, I did an internship there. And I loved the place. I loved the people there. There were some really amazing people there doing really awesome stuff. But then I hated the fact that I had to wake up at 3 a.m. from Kaswa and then catch a trotro to Malam Junction and then wait for
Wow.
the company bus at Malam Junction and
Hmm.
go all the way to Tema. And once you enter, you have breakfast, and then everything, you put your phones away, everything, you go into the plant, you go into the production place, and then you have like a job to do. Either you're doing maintenance on some machines, or you're cleaning something, or you're changing a light bulb, or just regular stuff. And then you close at 5, you get inside a car, in the bus, and then you are stuck in Tema traffic for like forever, gets to
Oh
Malam
man.
Junction again, and then I have to get home. So basically, I was waking up at 3 and I was getting home at 9, 10 p.m. And I felt
Whoa.
like my life was at a standstill. And I was just working. My brains were not being put to good use because I was just doing routine stuff, maintenance.
Hmm.
And around that, and it was like the defining moment for me where I told myself, no, I don't want to end up having to do this after school. And
Hmm.
I feel like there are so many ways in which I can contribute at a higher level to
Mm-hmm.
society than just being part of one of the cogs in a wheel where I am not doing things that I consider very significant. So a combination of that situation plus the combination of the realization that the research that I did in KNUST at the Department of Agric Engineering had profound impact um, for it had a lot of profound impact and could make a fundamental difference in the lives of farmers and people at the bottom of the pyramid. That was the aha moment for me where I said, okay, now this is what I want to do full time.
Mm, I think at this point, I mean, it makes perfect sense to ask if you could, let's say, tell us about what this project was about, because I mean, you did electrical engineering and now you're talking to me about a great project. So Can you, let's say, explain to us what the project was about and how, let's say, your expertise was kind of pivotal to executing this project?
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people also ask me that you did electrical engineering. What are you doing in agric? But what I say is that electrical engineering is the um, that is that is my training, right? But then agric is the application of my training. I am applying my electrical and electronic engineering knowledge to solve problems in agriculture. So this was the project. The Department of Agric Engineering.
I think your line is breaking up again. So it's hard to understand that because your line is breaking up. So Isaac, if you can hear me, maybe you could dial out and dial back into the stream. I think that should solve the issue. So if you're watching us, today's episode, we are talking with Isaac Sesi, who is CEO of Sesi Technologies, and we are currently trying to resolve the audio issue. I think. Can you hear me, Isaac?
Hi, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
so you're telling us about the project, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having very erratic internet connection today.
Oh,
Very sorry.
okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So the project was basically there was an ongoing project in post-harvest loss management to see what simple technologies could be adopted and locally developed to solve certain critical post-harvest loss challenges in grains. And so we had one of the people in the team was an engineer from the US Department of Agriculture called Dr. Armstrong. So he had developed a prototype of a grain moisture meter that he was testing in Ghana. So the results were good. And so they were looking at if KNUST had the capacity to locally, like to sort of improve the product and then establish local manufacturing. So I was brought in to come and sort of look at what had been done and then sort of redo it again and make improvements to it. And that was like the scope of the project. Basically, look at what had been done and sort of replicate it. And so I put together a team of three or four of us. And then, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so after 6-7 months period, we successfully more or less reverse engineered what had been done, and we did it again. And it was my first time actually, even though I had been building stuff back in the past, it was my first time actually working on a project that had so much benefit to a very large number of people. And so at the end of, I think at the time I was doing my national service as well while doing research at the Department of Agric Engineering. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm done with this project. We have accomplished our objectives. I am going on with my life. But then they did a launch, and then they had all of these people fly in from the US to come and participate in the launch. And they really talked about the problem of post-harvest loss, and because at the time I was just thinking as an engineer, I have done the technical part.
Exactly. Solve the issue and then that's it, the problem solved.
Yeah. So then they talked about the problems on the ground, and then they were so impressed that we had been able to really build this device right here in Ghana. And I was almost seen as a hero, there were like all of these stations that were around, and I was just confused. I was like, what's going on? So after the whole launch, the team was like, hey, you guys did so fantastic. You guys did like really, really well. And you can't let this project end. After the project ends, you have to take it up and now start producing these devices. And So like a couple of months, I thought about it for a couple of months. I'm like, okay, let's give this a shot. So early in 2018, I registered Sesi Technologies, and we got our first order to produce 120 grain moisture meters.
Wow.
And it was like my first time receiving so much money to do
Exactly.
anything at all. Yeah, and I grossly underestimated how long it was going to take to do. I didn't consider all of the complexities
The
along.
complexities, yes. The supply chain
And
aspect.
yeah, I should have come for for
Oh,
consultant supply chain consultancy from you.
oh, Charlie. And and
But
and
then
and and, and just before you continue, so can you let's dial back a bit before we come to this first order. So first of all, can you explain to the audience what is post-harvest losses and how does the moisture meter, for example, help the typical farmer? Then we can go on with the story.
okay. So post-harvest losses simply refers to the loss in quality and quantity of food after harvest. And typically there are so many things that happen from the time you harvest your crop to the time
Mm-hmm.
it gets to the plate of a consumer. So
Mm.
let's take corn for example. At the time that you're harvesting, maybe if you harvest too late, you can have people stealing your corn or birds eating your some of your corn. If you harvest too early, you realize that the corn is so moist, it starts growing moldy. While you are transporting the grain, while you're transporting the corn for shelling, some of it is going to fall on the road, or
Mm-hmm.
the people that pack the corn inside of the truck didn't pack it properly. When you are you're going to have chickens also feast on your grain. Rodents eat them while in storage. If the moisture content is too high, you're going to have mold growing in the insects eating it. So all of these losses along the way from harvest right onto the time when you eat the food, that's what is referred to as post-harvest losses.
Okay.
So the FAO estimates that about 30 to 40% of food that we produce is lost even before it can get to the consumer,
Wow.
which is very crazy because we have so many, if you live in a country where you really don't know what's going on in other places, you're not very privy to the humanitarian crisis that is existing in a lot of places where people don't have food to eat, where there is hunger, where there is poverty all around, because you probably have food to buy. It's a big problem, and it doesn't make sense that over 800 million people go to bed every day on an empty stomach, yet still 40% of the food that we produce everywhere in the world is thrown away or is lost before it can get to the plate of the consumer. So the moisture meter that we developed was seeking to solve one of the causes of these losses, which is
Okay.
high moisture. So if in grains, if the moisture content is too high before you store, it is going to grow moldy. So I don't know if anyone has noticed, maybe you have like a bag of corn there and then it looks greenish and it's wet, it looks greenish. That's mold. And then you have insects eating the grain. So when the moisture content is too high, it's going to go moldy and then it's going to be infested and attacked by insects. So with the moisture meter, you know whether the grain is dry enough for storage or has to be dried some more, because they have done scientific studies which shows the recommended moisture level at which each grain should be stored. But our local farmers do not have any means of measuring the moisture content, any scientific means of measuring the moisture content, because existing solutions are either too expensive or inaccessible. So they resort to using some rudimentary ways like biting the grain, tossing the grain, etc. But all of these are subjective and they don't always work. So what we did with GrainMate was we developed a simple device that farmers could use to tell whether their grain was dry or not, or had to be dry some more. And just the simple knowledge of that before you store has the potential to really cut down on these losses very significantly. So in short, that is post-harvest losses, and then that is GrainMate.
Wow. I like the, I mean, this is very practical, let's say problem or challenge that farmers are facing. And like you rightly said, I mean, if 30 to 40% of all the food produce really is lost through the post-harvest losses, then I mean, definitely, I mean, the problem you're solving is essential. So let's dial back again to where so you got your first order to produce 100 or so GrainMate moisture meter, and can you walk us through from that point where you underestimated the order? Because for me, this is crucial for young entrepreneurs who are coming up. Sometimes the excitement is really like up there, and there's so much enthusiasm, and sometimes the reality of how to execute that vision does not come until we face that, that hurdle. So can you share that experience with us?
Yes. So it turned out that one of the people that was on the project, he put a lot of confidence in us because he felt that, well, what we have been able to do at KNST was very impressive. And so there was a program that was being run by the Adventist Development Relief Agency, and they were considering going to other moisture meters outside of the country. And then this person, who now is one of our mentors, was like, hey, these guys have done this in KNUST, they can do it, give them the chance. So we had no credibility, we hadn't done anything like this before. And then these people was like, okay, fine. These guys have no credibility, but let's just give them a try. And so there was a lot of stake. A program had been planned. Everything had been done. A lot of people were flying out of the country. I mean, from outside of the country to come and participate in the program. And everything, a lot of things hinged on our ability to deliver when we say we'll deliver. Because they ask us, when can you deliver? We were like, okay, we can deliver in 3 months. And so they planned all of that, they booked people's flights, etc. So there was a lot of and then
pressure.
Yes, we started ordering the components, and things just all of a sudden, everything started taking long to happen. Things were delaying. We realized that some of the raw materials that we ordered, we can only get them from the US, and shipping from the US to Ghana was the whole big deal. Orders got cancelled multiple times. And
oh no.
There was one time, like, I ordered about $10,000 worth of components that were not going to be able to use because they were the wrong components. And the mistake was from me because I missed 6-letter words, like a 6-letter word.
Oh,
and
no.
That's caused us to get $10,000 worth of components we couldn't use.
Seriously?
And so we had to.
Oh my God.
Aside the loss of money, there was also a loss of time. We had to go and bring new components, and that delayed the whole thing. So then I was there, and the time was getting close, and we're not able to deliver. So I started getting a lot of very angry emails. Everybody was like, yeah, we told you so. We said these guys were not going to be able to do it. And we were like, let's trust them. And now you see the trouble you have brought. I had people sending me emails. We trusted you. Look at what you have done. And it was like one of the lowest points in my life. I was like, who sent me? Why did I go and do this?
Goodness.
So, well, around that time, I discovered what they call damage control.
Yes.
So yes. I had to leave Kumasi, go to Accra, go talk to people and have very uncomfortable conversations with them and tell them that, hey, we're going to do this for you. Just give us some more time. People had to rebook their flights. Anyway, long and short of the matter was that 3 months after the time we said we'll deliver, we finally delivered. And we were late for 3 months. And I don't even want to think about it again.
I
You know,
can imagine the memories.
yes, those were not fun memories at all.
Oh man,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so then, it was like such a huge relief to be able to, deliver the first set of orders. And then around that time, we started working on how to make the products better and
Mm,
how to solve problems that
mm,
end users have faced. And it's been constant innovation and product
mm,
development from there. And I personally have grown so much as an entrepreneur, and
mm,
I learned a lot from the initial mistakes that I made, and it's made me a much better entrepreneur. I still continue to learn every day, every time, and I am happy with the journey so far.
yeah.
On social media, people see you and they feel like um, because of the things you post, people feel like you have arrived and
Yes.
you don't have any problems in life, you don't have any challenges. But the truth of the matter is that every entrepreneur faces difficult problems, difficult
Mm,
challenges. They don't see what's happening below the iceberg, all of the disappointment and stress and uh, relationships that are broken and friendships that, like, because of
mm,
you having a vision and you having a mission to do things that conflict with other, like to do things to help people. And
mm,
so, yeah, it's a tough journey. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Anyone who tells you entrepreneurship is easy is deceiving you.
exactly.
So yeah, that was like
Um,
our early days.
yeah, I'm looking at the example you just gave, where I mean, you're a young man, you just, like you said, you had just started the company, you got this huge order, you've never even seen that sum of money before, and then all of a sudden you're unable to deliver. I mean, even the psychological trauma, the really the stress of having to really engage your stakeholders who had, like you said, put so much faith in you and had, really based all their travel arrangements on your timelines. That's, for me, to have gone through that, and still decided to keep with the vision. For me, that's very commendable. And I think for anyone watching, it tells you that it doesn't always go as planned, right? But you have to pick yourself up. Now, I'm looking at the topic that we are discussing. I mean, we already started talking about agri and technology, right? And we're talking about how we can leverage technology in agricultural space in developing countries. Now, my question is this: in our part of the world, when we consider agriculture, we immediately think about, let's say, the cutlasses, the machetes, the hoes, the really manual ways of doing stuff. Technology does not come to mind when most of us think about agri. We don't think about technology. Can you tell me, right, from your experience and from the work you're doing with Sesi Technologies, the role of technology, right, in the agriculture space within our part of the world? Like you mentioned earlier, we understand, or some of us know, the role that technology can play, but we are talking about farmers who cannot even sometimes even read or write, right? Who are so much detached from technology, right? So how are you able to reconcile, an industry that is a bit behind in the tech space, and then you trying to move the next generation of innovation into that space?
So, this is a very important question. Let me give you some background first. Currently, we are 7.7 billion people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
By 2050, the world's population will hit 9 billion. And in order to be able to feed all of these 9 billion people, we have to almost double agricultural production and reduce losses as much as possible. And all of this has to happen in the face of climate change and then decreasing availability of arable land, as well as decreasing availability of other resources like water. And so
Exactly.
it's like a very, very grim situation if we don't take action now. So if you look in Africa, right, in Africa, yields in Africa are at least 5 times lower per per hectare or square hectare or per acre, right, for the same piece of land, someone in the US or someone in Europe will have yield that is like 5 times or more greater or higher than what we would have in Africa. And one of the key distinguishing factors is technology.
Okay.
It's technology. Now, agriculture in Africa has been a very conservative space, which has been dominated by smallholder farmers who are usually pretty grown people that have adopted customs that were passed to them from their forefathers. And so the same ways we were doing things decades ago is the same ways we are doing things now. There isn't a lot of innovation in technology when it comes to agriculture over here. It's a very conservative space where people are seeing technology as something weird rather than something that has to be great. However, it's exciting to see that a lot of effort is being made by different stakeholders to cause technology adoption, to the rate of technology adoption to increase. And I personally believe that if we're going to get closer to our goals of being able to avoid a food security crisis, then technology plays a very key role in helping us, reduce losses, increase production, and maximize productivity. And that is what we consider as the core of our mission at Sesi Technologies, to empower African farmers with affordable technologies to increase productivity, reduce losses, and maximize profits. And so we cannot do without technology if we want to be self-sufficient, if we want to stop imports, if we want to, become a net exporter of food. Then technology is something we have to embrace. And I believe that we don't always have to go and import technologies from outside the country, from the West, from China. We have the capability and the capacity to develop technologies that address our own very unique problem. And so I'm very excited that we have taken the journey to being able to bridge, the gap between the productivity gap through technology. And it's something that excites me so much. It's something that I wake up to, and I'm happy to go to work because I know that I am doing something I love, which is making a profound impact in the lives of people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, and just generally which has good far-reaching implications in other areas like their health, feeding, etc. If a farmer makes more money, it means he can send his kids to school. It means he can afford better health care. So yes, in short, you really cannot do away with technology when it comes to agriculture, especially in Africa. So it's very important that we really have conscious, deliberate policies that speak to, advance the adoption or accelerate the adoption of technology in agriculture in Ghana and in Africa as a whole.
I think that's very profound. I like the fact that you took the, let's say, the analysis from a bigger picture, using the global population and the general, let's say, outlook of how we are feeding ourselves, and the fact that if we don't increase our productivity in the next couple of years, then there's going to be a food security crisis. In terms of the work you do with Sesi Technologies, with GrainMate and your other innovations, can you give us, let's say, one use case where, let's say, there was, let's say, a real testimonial from a rural farmer and how their lives were improved as a result of your technology?
Yeah, I can give you like more than one. I can give you several use cases.
I know you have a lot.
Yeah. And these stories from farmers is really what gets us going. And on 4th December, we're actually doing a virtual launch of our new GrainMate moisture meter we have developed in the generation, as well as our
really?
App. Yeah. And we're going to be showing some of these testimonials. And so, we just as recently as October, I was visiting some of the farmer-based organizations we work with to learn about the experience using the grain mates and some of the innovations that we have so far. And yes, a comment from one of the farmers. He was like, "Thank you for bringing us this wonder machine." And one of the ways that we're using to create the need for the use of our technologies is by setting up experiments with the different groups. So we take what they're already doing, we put it, and we take what they're already doing, we put it on one side, and we take our interventions, our hermetic storage bags, our grain moisture meter, and we also put it on another side. We come 3 months later and we come and look at the results and we see which grains are better, which grains are of better quality. So one lady, in one of the communities we went with, one of the ladies reported a 10% increase in the value of the corn that she was selling.
Wow.
A 10% increase in the value. And if a smallholder farmer has 30 bags and she's getting an extra 10 cedis per bag, that's 300 cedis extra money in her pocket. And if in the rural area, 300 cedis is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
So many things. And there was another woman who says, well, she in her place, she didn't really get increase in prices, but her grains were so good, it sold out so fast, while everybody else was just there trying to sell their grains. And so we have people that are chasing us to say, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. And it's exciting for us because if we feel like our evidence-based approach to proving to farmers that these technologies work is actually paying off, and the farmers are beginning to see the need to adopt technology. And I could go on and on and on and on. And there was a poultry farmer that reported that when they started using our technologies, their mortality rates of their birds has reduced. They can prepare better feed. The productivity has increased, and we have so many of those. So many of those. From the feed processing companies, the grain aggregators, and some of the we are excited that some of the top agritech companies actually use our products. Farmerline uses our products. AgroCenter uses our products, and it's really exciting that we have people that are beginning to see the importance of technology in agriculture and are beginning to adopt these technologies.
Wow. I mean, like you said, I knew that definitely you would have so many testimonials, and for me, this is real impact because I mean, if you look at the value chain, if you consider the rural farmer who, like you rightly said, has maybe not much of an education and is able to see the real impact of your solutions. I mean, you're not just improving their livelihoods, right? You are improving the livelihoods of their children. You are improving the livelihoods of their family members, their dependents, people who depend on them, and they are able to send their children to school. They are able to, build their own homes, buy even more lands, to kind of grow and scale their businesses. So I think that the impact for me, it's not, you can't dispute the impact. If I look at the final, as we are wrapping up, I want to understand from your point of view, where is Sesi Technologies now in terms of where are you in terms of the journey so far, right? What is the number of people so far that, with your team, and then where are you going? So I want to understand where you are now and where you're going. Where do you see growing the business in the next 5 to 10 years, as far as your company is concerned?
Well, I really talk about that excitedly because I always say that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what we can do. Now, we see ourselves as developing the technologies that power the next generation of African farmers. And we see our technologies in the next few years being widely used in so many countries across Sub-Saharan Africa. Already, we're seeing people using our technologies in Rwanda, in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe, and we're just going to keep going further and further. And we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what we can potentially do. Already, even before launching this payment, we're already doing research and development for 3-4 products. Yes, for the next 3-4 products that we're looking to release next year, next 2 years, and we're just thinking several steps ahead. We're currently a team of 12, and we really all are passionate about the work we're doing. And I think that you're going to be hearing of us, and you're going to be hearing from us more and more. And we hope that a lot of people will follow our journey and realize that there is a lot of impact that can be made with technology. We are not the kind of company that feels like, we want to do everything, other companies should come. We feel like if we set the pace, and then people see that, okay, well, we can solve problems for people and we can still make profit, so let's do this. In the end, it's the people at the bottom of the pyramid that's the biggest beneficiaries, and everybody wins. From a local level, national level, global level, everybody wins. And so, we see ourselves as just one of the pioneers of hardware solutions for agriculture, especially in Ghana, in Africa. And then we hope that more people will come like us, and we're going to make Africa a better place. We'll show others that we here have the skills, the capacity, the know-how to develop technologies that solve the problems that we have here.
Thank you very much for that. I think it's amazing. I mean, to have started this from scratch, and now having a team of 12 and being in all those countries that you mentioned, and the impact for me it's profound. And if you're watching today's episode of People Who Inspire, we are speaking with Isaac Sesi, of CEO of Sesi Technologies, and his vision and the products and innovations. Example is the GrainMate moisture meter that are really helping farmers to reduce post-harvest losses. And my final question to you, Isaac, is that if someone is watching today, and as I do with People Who Inspire, the whole import of this platforms to empower people, to motivate people. If someone is watching and they have a business idea, or they want to start something but they are unsure, they don't know where to start from, what would be your word of encouragement or motivation to my viewers who would want to start something, who would want to pursue their dreams, but they are not finding their foot, and they are not, let's say, really motivated to do so?
For me, I think that the first thing you have to start with is your why. Like, what moves you? What are you passionate about? Why do you want to do this? You have to have a strong, compelling reason why you want to start a business, why you want to solve a certain problem. It should be very personal to you, because when you start something, you are definitely going to have challenges. And in those times where you feel like quitting, where you question yourself, why at all am I doing this? Is the passion and is the reason why you started in the first place. That's what is going to really keep you going in the hard times. So you have to start with why you are doing what you want to do. Next thing you want to do is you want to start something. Start small. All of the big companies you see today all started from somewhere. They started small. And in starting small, you have to be sure that you're solving a problem that people have, and then you can develop a solution that works, that solves the problem better than what current solutions already do, and that people are willing to pay for. And that's where you start from. Because you can be passionate about something, but if the world really doesn't care about that, then you really don't have a business. So then start with the why. Make sure that you have discovered a problem that people face, whose solution you can develop, and whose solution people are willing to pay for. And then you take it from there. be like a sponge, soak the knowledge, soak the wisdom. Like, you're going to start, you're not going to start knowing everything, but it's important that you try and learn as fast and as much as you can, and then keep going there. So in conclusion, it's not going to be easy. You should expect difficulties along the way, but just keep going. Remember why you are doing what you're doing, and then just keep going.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your really sharing your experience with us. And if someone is watching and they would want to get in touch with Sesi Technologies, maybe some professionals normally who are having some farms and they want to engage your services, how would they reach you? Can you share a website or a number or an email, and then they would be able to, let's say, reach out?
Yeah, definitely. We're located in Kumasi, but we don't let our geographical position determine who can reach us or not. Our website is sesitechnologies.com. Our email is hello@sesitechnologies.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just search Sesi Technologies. Our phone number is 0555 699 870. And you can reach us anytime, and we can do business.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So Isaac, I want to thank you. Would wrap up here and draw the curtains to today's episode. And I want to thank you so much for I know you're a busy man, making time to share your life with us and share your vision for your company with us. And I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors. And I know very well that in less than 5 years, we would have your technologies and innovations all over the continent and all other places where farmers need your services. And for all those watching, I want to thank you for staying with us. People who inspire, feel free to share the stream afterwards and join us again next week for the next episode. Thank you, Isaac. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate to have spoken with you, and I hope to join you again sometime soon. Take care and enjoy the
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.